Hey, you beautiful people out there. Today I'm going to be bringing you a hot, beautiful, amazing video. We're going raw, unfiltered, unscripted, as I usually do. Now, this isn't any normal video. This is going to be a tier list video. Now, my good friend Nintendo Gen 64 recently, and by recently I mean quite literally within the last, hour, made a tier list of all the Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled stages. And you know what? It's a pretty gosh darn good list, I must say. Y'all should watch that video. I'll link it in the description. And I decided, you know what? I'm just going to steal his idea. Except I'm going to be that much more lazy because this is me. So welcome everyone. As you can see, I am on the screen. But the tier list, it ain't here. So how this is going to work is I'm going to rate the stages, I guess, how I feel about them. I'm going to try my best to take into consideration like the original games they came from, so Crash Team Racing respectively and Crash Nitro Kart, almost said Nitro-Fueled. But for the most part, I'm probably going to be talking about the stages and how I feel about them in context of Nitro-Fueled, because I've played way too much Crash Nitro-Fueled, like way more than any person should. If you go to my co-op channel with Mayo Doctor or Mayonnaise Doctor, channel name is Yoga Doctor, I collected everything in the game, including all developer staff ghosts, getting every single item in the pit stop without spending a single dime on the game, and it was torture. So that exists. If you ever want to see me suffer, there you go. I would say I'm decently skilled at the game. I'm probably pretty high up there. I hate to toot my own horn, but I guess people would put me in the really high skill cap of players. So clearly my opinion is absolute fact. And as I said, I am doing this in the laziest way possible. So instead of being a smart, rational person and using my webcam, you're just going to see me, this Jigglypuff, and yes, this is in fact Jigglypuff, is going to be in the corner of your screen, staring at you, judging you, until the entire video is over. So yeah, let's get that tier list up. So I'm doing this again in the absolute laziest way. Excuse me, I gotta move myself down here. There we go. Look at that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful creature. Which is me, for the record. That is me. That is an actual picture of me. So anyways, let's get started. So this is in alphabetical order, and I will put in the description a link to this tier list maker that I believe Nintendo Gen 64 made himself. So if you want to make your own tier lists and I guess share them or whatever, I probably wouldn't leave a comment, but I would definitely maybe make a video or like a comment link, that is, rather. But yeah, I'd make maybe like a video or, I don't know, post an image on Twitter or something fun like that. Just to have a bit of fun. So yeah, let's get things started. So I'm going to keep the tiers the way he did it. Oh, can you guys see my mouse actually? Let me make sure you guys can. I don't know, that's like some weird thing that bugs me. Oh, you can. Okay, cool. Hopefully you can. Anyways, so let's get things started. I'm not going to mess with any of these tiers. Maybe I'll add more if I think they're deserving of it, but I highly doubt it. I might make what I consider to be an absolute worst of the worst, and then absolute best of the best, and only one or two will go there, but for the meantime, this is how things will be. I didn't even realize he named this tier best of the best. But whatever. Alright, so let's get things started. And hopefully the music doesn't end up over blaring and killing your ears compared to my voice. As a matter of fact, it should be fine. I'll be fine. Alright, so let's get things started. Alright, so Android Alley. Now, okay. I know a lot of people really like this stage, but this stage annoys the hell out of me. It annoys me a lot. Aesthetically speaking, it is a very pleasing stage. When you compare it to Crash Nitro-Fueled, or Nitro Kart, sorry. I'm gonna confuse those names constantly. When you compare it to Crash Nitro Kart, it's definitely a more interesting looking stage. while Nitro Kart is a very good-looking game, I feel, for the generation it came out in and like the year it came out in, I do think it suffers from some really gross colors later on. Android Alley, Assembly Lane, which is funny enough next, Thunderstruck. These stages have this kind of gross yellow and greens to them that I don't really like. That's more than likely a me thing, but that's just how I've always felt. But the updated look is really nice. I don't like this stage that much because I farmed it like crazy during a lot of off periods and just for Wumpa coins is one of the better stages for it. But other than that, it's a pretty boring stage, I feel like. The train part is cool, and obviously the shortcut where you jump through the window is really cool. But there's not a lot of skill expression in the stage, which I guess can be fine in some cases, but I feel like Crash Team Racing as a whole is a game very much built on having a lot of skill expression, like with things such as like Blue Flame and such. Blue Flame, and holding your reserves and keeping your Sacred Fire and all that sort of stuff. While that's all important, Android Alley does not have Blue Flame from what I remember. It's been a bit since I've played the game, since I've basically not touched the game since I've finished it. But I remember everything so vividly, so I hope I'm correct in these regards. But it's just there's nothing really to, like I said, express your skill. Like, the train, while being consistent, doesn't really add much at the beginning. It can be more of a nuisance than anything. And if somebody's like really far ahead and they're not, let's say, an extremely good player, there's no way you're going to be able to beat them. I think that goes for like online or even local play. Outside of looking really good, which I think it did have a really good like updated visual style, I do think the anti-gravity being taken out of the stage really hurt it, because even though the anti-gravity isn't really the best, to say the least, in Nitro Kart, I feel like it gave the stage a bit more depth. So for now, I'm going to put this in the not so good. A lot of that's going to do with bias. I feel like this might be the most okay-ish of okay stages. But there's just that extra grind I had to do on it made me, I guess, just loathe playing the stage. I'll try to be as fair as I can, but for now, definitely a stage that I would probably say is like it borders on the line of being okay for me, just because the fact that I know it's a solid stage for the most part, but it could have a little less going on for it. So we're gonna move on now to Assembly Lane, which this stage I always mistake the mud for looking like chocolate. And I've always thought that way. I don't know if it's because of my TV like color settings that I have, but it just looks like chocolate to me. This is another stage that I think got a really nice upgrade. Every stage, for the most part, I think got a really, really good upgrade in terms of visuals. And I think that Assembly Lane really got a nice popping, cartoony color scheme that I think works really well with a good like contrast and all that sort of stuff. And as for race track, it's okay. There is a lot of cool things about it. There's the conveyor belt segment when you get into the factory. It has a kind of cool obstacle, which can be also equally annoying, but when you're playing with a whole bunch of people, it's a lot of fun to do. It can be. Is the tractor beam little gimmick, which Nitro-Fueled has Nitro Kart, sorry, has a few of those. And I think that's like a cool gimmick and a cool little stage hazard that you can set up for people. Unfortunately, the anti-gravity bit is a little, that they took out, is a little disappointing because it's more or less just kind of a straight line into a turn, as opposed to the original game, which had the original stage, which had a pipe, which was a little bit more fun, I feel like. But overall, I would say it's a pretty okay stage. I'd also like the like 90-degree turn spiral turning section right before you get back to the outside segment before the ending. I always thought that was a pretty cool little thing. It's a callback to Engine Labs. Obviously, you're doing the turn in the other direction, going from left to right as opposed to right to left. But overall, I would say it's like an okay stage. It's nothing too special, I feel. It's got that shortcut also, too. It's got one where you jump over some scenery, which I think is pretty cool. And it saves you a pretty decent tight turn that it makes makes taking that shortcut feel really nice. So for that alone, I feel like I'd probably put it in the okay tier. I think it's done a little better because it's kind of based on Engine Labs a little bit, I feel like, and spoiler alert, I think Engine Labs just was done better, so I think Assembly Lane for now will sit in the okay tier. And next, Barren Ruins. If this was the original Nitro Kart, I would absolutely loathe this stage because the Velo, or Velo, it's Velo, by the way, his ghost was a nightmare for me here. But this stage, I think, looked really good in Nitro Kart, and I feel like it basically got upscaled when they put it into Nitro-Fueled. Like, it doesn't really feel like it got a huge upgrade, and I think that's just because the stage looked pretty nice as is. The anti-gravity section missing is like the most whatever thing in the world. But the stage itself is like, it's like okay. There's nothing really cool, like special about it. It has the, what's it called? The little like half pipe section right before that big turn where there's the walking robot back and forth, and a whole bunch of like pieces of land jutting out. And sometimes, and this was also the case with Nitro Kart, funny enough, if I remember correctly, those little pieces of ground that jut out can, like, you can crash into and hit, and it's annoying. And because of that, and because it doesn't really have anything really interesting going on, the stage hazard that you can do to your enemies is just I think it's just the barrel. You can make it go down the half pipe, but only in the middle section. It's a little boring, so I'd probably put it below Android Alley. Actually, no, I'd probably put it ahead of Android Alley. I feel like Android Alley almost feels too barren, in my opinion. And again, Barren Ruins and Assembly Lane. Assembly Lane has some good skill expression you can do, but Barren Ruins not so much, which that can be fine in certain situations, but I just feel like there's just not really enough going on in the stage for me to really be like, yeah, this is like a super amazing stage. Blizzard Bluff. Now, this stage I really like, but it also annoys me. This has two really cool shortcuts. I think technically 3 according to the game, like to get trophies and achievements and stuff. But that's one of them is only just cutting into the snow a bit, which I barely count. But overall, I think Blizzard Bluff is a really cool stage. Compared to the original game, I hate that they made the fence jump very inconsistent feeling, and it ruins that really cool shortcut. I feel like I like the idea that you can jump between, there's the two fences, one of them's supposed to be easier than the other. Obviously the easier one is one that takes more time to get to. And jumping over the lake is really cool because you need to have Sacred Fire to be able to jump over that lake or river, I guess it would be. And I've always thought that was really cool. And then there's the obstacle of the rock right after you jump down the cliffs at the beginning to screw you up. Get rid of your reserves, your Sacred Fire, and if that gets messed up, then you just can't take the shortcut. You have to go the normal way. You have to go on the ice, which the ice physics are whatever. I mean, they don't really do anything, luckily. So that's like the most whatever trivial thing to me. But it's also a very simple stage. It's just a snow stage. There's nothing really special going on about it. It's just like a snowy area. So aesthetically, it's not even really that pleasing. For now, I'm going to put it at very good. But this is like treading the line between okay and very good. I feel like it's only very good just because there are cool things in terms of skill expression, like how you slide on ice correctly, how you take the quote-unquote shortcut at the very beginning of the lap, and then the two shortcuts with the fence, the two variations of that shortcut, and then jumping over the river, which I think is really cool. Clockwork Wumpa is next. This I have to put in very good. I'm just going to shove it in very good because this is easily one of the best tracks so far. As a matter of fact, it's probably one of my favorite stages. This might go in best of best. Because Clockwork Wumpa, they just made it really cool. So they didn't really have to update a lot of visuals, again, from the original game in Nitro Kart. But the blue flame that they added, along with all the 90-degree turns, with the gear shortcuts being a thing too, which I just think is a cool shortcut idea. I just think this stage is really cool. And this is one of the harder stages to keep your blue flame on because of how tight every turn is, especially if you're a speed character. I think the sheer amount of skill expression you can do here is really cool, which puts it so high up for me because this stage can be so much fun to get properly, but it can also be very annoying. And 90-degree turn stages can also just in general be very, very obnoxious. But I feel like this has a good balance of not being overly long, and the 90-degree turns aren't too terrible to deal with. And the one thing it does kind of, which I think is boring again, is the stage gimmick, kind of like Barren Ruins, where you can hit a crate and it creates an obstacle for your ally or your enemies, which is just a hole that's really easy to dodge. So it's like a whatever gimmick in that regard, but I think the sheer skill expression and how much speed you can actually get in the track makes it a ton of fun to play. So definitely good stage, very good stage. Coco Park. This stage, this is a hard one. This is like, I think I have to put it in not so good, very close to bad boring. Because the thing is, it's very boring. It is a very, very boring stage. There's nothing particularly special about it. I'm actually going to put it in the bad boring category. I'm going to say it's more of a boring stage than a bad stage. It looks beautiful compared to the original. The original is very boring, but the original has a lot more. At least it has some extra things that you can do to go faster, making it, in my opinion, a more interesting stage to play. But in Nitro-Fueled, that doesn't exist nearly as much. They kept the little shortcut, which was, I think, unintended in the original game in Crash Team Racing, and they made it like a proper shortcut here, but that shortcut is so small and it just doesn't feel very satisfying. It's like a totally okay stage. I don't even think it's really okay. It's bad and boring, because I'm thinking of other stages that do the oval, let's call it like the oval design, or the circular design, like the straight up just circular design with nothing special really going on. The shortcut is small, it's boring. If you're playing the campaign mode, you've already played a better version of just a standard track, which is Crash Cove, which we'll talk about in a second after Cortex Castle. But it's just an okay stage. Like, it's boring, actually. I keep saying it's okay, but there's a tier that says okay, and that doesn't feel right. It's a boring stage. I feel like when I say a stage is okay, for the most part, that means it's like, it's in the bad tier. Because I think almost every stage is good, but I think Coco Park is just not a particularly fun or interesting stage, which, I mean, that song's playing right now. It's a pretty good song, but I'm not basing any of the music in this game, because I think the music is just alright. It's not really something I would just listen to and wiggle my fingers to. So Cortex Castle is... I would say this is below Clockwork Wumpa. I essentially feel like this is a worse Clockwork Wumpa stage for me. Same idea, whole bunch of 90-degree turns. I think it goes on a little too long, which is annoying. It has Blue Flame, which is cool, and obstacles that you can easily lose it from. The corners are much tighter, making it a little harder to navigate. And the aesthetic, while being cool, like, I like the colors and stuff like that, I feel like it's not aesthetically is a boring stage kind of to me. I think it's pretty good though. Keeping the Blue Flame is a lot of fun. It feels very satisfying when you beat the stage with it. But it's basically just a lesser Clockwork Wumpa, but that doesn't mean it's bad at all, because I think just Clockwork Wumpa does it just a little bit better. It's a shorter track for the most part. I find just Clockwork Wumpa a bit more fun to navigate, and it's more visually appealing to me than Cortex Castle. So yeah. Crash Cove. This is just going to go in okay. It is fine. It is absolutely fine. One thing that Crash Cove, I feel like, gets a benefit from is it's the first stage in CTR, so I feel like you can't super critique it. You can, but I feel like it's almost not fair to just be like, it's bad because there's so many stages that are just better. It does a particular job, right? It's got a ramp, which is cool. It's got a little shortcut, which is really cool, and it's got a split path where it's supposed to be kind of like risk reward, like you go slower to get some boxes which give you what's it called, it's like, you know, power-ups and stuff like that, which is conceptually cool, and it does its job fine. And I think the ship is cool, and I think just in general the stage looks really cool. I don't know why, or rather I don't know who sculpted Crash's head in his cove, but bravo to the people that did that. The shortcut in the water though, like the little puddle to go up to the upper area where the dock is that leads to the ship that you can't even go on, I do think that's a really cool touch though. It's like a subtle little shortcut, you know? And I appreciate that. It's a shortcut that is subtle, and it's cool for that. I actually think it like gets extra points for having that shortcut, and it's very subtle. It's barely even a shortcut, it feels like, but it is one because you don't have to take like a small turn and such. So because of that, especially for an intro stage, it is definitely really good for what it does. But there are stages that I just think are better. Therefore, it just lands perfectly in the it's fine category. I definitely would play it over Barren Ruins, I feel like, in Android Alley, though, for sure. Because especially Android Alley just takes way too long. Ugh, the more I think about it, the more I get upset. Deep Sea Driving. To me, the best of the best. This is one of the best stages in the game. One of my favorites to keep Blue Flame in. One of the hardest to keep Blue Flame in. The anti-gravity they got rid of here didn't even matter from the swap from Nitro Kart to Fueled, because it was just a tube. You don't need to go in the top part, so you just make it so you can't. Knowing how the fans work and where to go and how their cycles work when you're doing time trials is really fun. It can be annoying, but it's also really fun. Working with the half pipe too there to gain incredible speed is a lot of fun, and the Blue Flame here just makes you go fast, really fast. It's almost uncontrollably fast. Making that section at the way end to get through all the fans without the Blue Flame really hard, but if you can do it, then you're doing a great job. I think this is a stage I feel like when people see online, they're like, you go fast, therefore this is fun. So that's how I feel. It's might be the fastest stage in the game in terms of like just the sheer speed the game puts you at. And aesthetically, they really nailed it with this stage. Like, I think it looked good in Nitro Kart, but it is such a nice looking stage in Nitro-Fueled. Like, it is amazing, I think, how it looks. Yeah, I think, honestly, even though it does take a lot of stuff from Roost Tubes, I think it's basically just a way better Roost Tubes. So, definitely a top tier stage, for sure. I'm going to try to make sure I don't get more than 5 stages in Best of the Best, because I feel like only the best really should be reserved for that. Dingo Canyon. This is basically just slightly better than Coco Park to me. It's just a boring stage. I really don't know what to say about it other than it's just boring. There is a shortcut at the beginning where you can just cut through the sand, but it's not really that big. There's a split path. The left side is faster, I'm pretty sure, but it barely feels like it. Like, taking the right path, it just, taking either path doesn't feel like anything. It's so short, it's so whatever. It looks okay, I guess. It basically looks like an upscaled version of the PS1 game, which some people might really like that. I think it's really boring, especially when some stages get like really grandiose, like Coco Park. Hell, even Coco Park visually, they gave it so much more compared to Dingo Canyon, so very low tier. It actually might go lower than Coco Park. When I'm done with all these, I'll make sure to go through my list again just to be like, would I actually prefer to play these stages over these stages, sort of thing. So yeah. Dragon Mines. I'm just going to put this at the bottom of the barrel. I hate Dragon Mines. The shortcut, conceptually cool. Not fun to execute. I know if you do this the stage perfectly, which for all you, if you don't know what the shortcut is, it's the minecart. You go through the track in the direction the minecarts are going, in the same direction. And if you do the stage perfectly, they'll never hit you. But it's not fun, honestly. It's just not fun. I don't think it's a fun stage. I like the cool, like, spiral wooden bridge they put in, but you're probably going to not take that if you're good with the shortcut, so it doesn't even matter. I think the shortcut, while conceptually is cool, you get punished really hard if you're just not on the right cycle. It's like, you can't take the shortcut sometimes just because you're not on the right cycle, because maybe you screwed something up and the minecart is going to hit you, so it's not worth taking, sort of thing. And yeah, it's just, Dragon Mines is, to me, probably the worst stage in the game. It is not fun to play at all. As a matter of fact, I'm tempted to give it its own category. It might get its own tier, and it's going to be in the Dragon Mines tier, because I don't want to play the stage. Beautiful stage, got an amazing upgrade, but dear lord, is it not fun to play, in my opinion. Drive Through Danger. Alright, so this was, I believe, the last DLC course that we got. And I'll be honest, I hate how it looks. I really hate how it looks. It is gross. I feel like that's the point, but it is not appealing to look at. As for a stage, I suppose, it is pretty fun. It is a hard stage to keep Blue Flame. One thing I do need to kind of knock it for, though, is there is a shortcut in the middle of the track where there is like a thread the needle situation to save some time, or you can just avoid it and just veer off to the left and ignore it, but that's a harder shortcut to take. But the thread the needle shortcut feels so inconsistent on whether or not it wants to work that going for it does not feel fun. It has Blue Flame, which is really cool. And it has the gimmick of, if I'm not mistaken, first place can choose right before, or maybe it's right after they hit the finish line. There is there's 2 panels you can go through. One has the pizza, and I think one has, want to say it's a burger. It might not. It's just some food, sloppy food. And that changes where the boost panels are. Just to get normal Sacred Fire / just speed boost, turbo pad, all that sort of stuff. And I think that's really cool. I like how, especially when you're playing time trial, you can control that and do what you want. But if you're online or with a friend and maybe they're not used to having, or they don't like having certain speed pads in certain spots, that's pretty cool. And the blue flame is hard to keep, and it is pretty fun. There are some pretty cool shortcuts in general here too, outside of the thread the needle one, just because of how weird and finicky it feels. I would put it in the okay, probably at the top. Very, very close to... Actually, I'd probably move Blizzard Bluff down. Finally, it's getting kicked down. And I'd probably put Drive-Through Danger to fix it, because there is a lot more skill expression, I think, to show, and that makes the stage, in my opinion, more fun to play. Electron Avenue. The longest stage, I'm pretty sure, in the game. Got the best makeover, and they made this stage really cool. I think I never dislike playing this stage. It's going at the top. It's the cream of the crop right now. I love it. Love Electron Avenue. Even though it's really long, it is so much fun. There's a lot of blue flame you can get all over the place. Blue flaming around the entire track, going as fast as you can, is a lot of fun. It's not a very hard track too to master, I feel like. So for me, when I play online, for example, there are many occasions where I just get super ahead of people. This is a stage where there can be like 4 people that are just in generally the same spot, and they're just going to get screwed over by like the one-off blue orb or missile or something. So this is a very easy track to get into. It's a long track, and it is a fun track. It is beautiful with all the neon and stuff like that. I could see how it could maybe get a little like tiresome for some people's eyes, especially if you play a lot, because it is blistering neon. But I think it is a beautiful, beautiful stage, and a very fun one. Easily top tier for me, I would say. So next, Gingerbread Joyride. This was Christmas. I don't know which track number this was. I want to say probably like the 5th one we got for DLC. I don't like this stage. I would play it over Android Alley. Maybe over Barren Ruins too. But I don't like this stage. The shortcut is cool. It's another 90-degree turning stage, which is annoying for the record. There's 2 shortcuts. The first one is cool because normally you would go down, drop off some cliffs, or there's an upper section you can take. And this is, I think, the only stage in the game where you actually have to ignore the upper section, which is where you usually see like those kind of shortcuts and stuff like that. And you have to veer into a wall off going down the lower section. And I think that's cool. I think that shortcut's really cool. The other one is just jumping over some water to ignore a turn, which is like whatever. But it's also a stage that has the gelatin at the end, which I'm glad there's only one in the stage, but it's annoying. It's a very annoying one. It's a blue stage, or blue flame stage too, so there is that skill expression. But unfortunately, while the first shortcut is cool, it also feels very finicky. I feel like you can sometimes make it when you shouldn't, and sometimes you just can't make it, and I don't know why. There is like this weird problem with the game where some shortcuts are perfect and others are like a coin flip, no matter how good you are for some reason. But I don't really like the stage. Not a fan of it, really. I wouldn't even doubt if I lower it down later on. So yeah. Hot Air Skyway. Another amazing stage. So I probably would put this right under Deep Sea Driving, and I love the symmetry of 3-3-3-3-3. But I would say this is a stage I'd probably put under Hot Air Skyway, but best of the best, maybe barring Electron Avenue, which I might actually put, like, if there was supposed to be like a god tier, that might be the god tier stage. I don't know if it's my favorite just yet. Probably isn't, because I know there is one stage I always talk about a lot. But this is a very fun stage to keep Blue Flame on. The upgrade from CTR in terms of graphics, they put so much stuff in the sky, so it's visually just more appealing. I love the sunset, like, it feels more like you're actually racing in the sunset. I know the original game, I'm pretty sure at least it was going for that, but it feels like it actually hit that mark here. They got rid of the one unintended shortcut from the first game, the original game, which is fine, where you go over the barrier about midway through the stage, I want to say. But I don't even mind that because playing the actual stage is so much fun, and this is one of the most enjoyable stages, I feel like, to keep Blue Flame, and one of the more satisfying ones, especially because there is that downward spiral that is fairly tight turning. So once you learn how to get down that sort of spiral, it feels very nice. So I would definitely put that really high tier. It might be better than Hot Air Skyway, actually. I feel like I would rather play Hot Air. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to put it above Deep Sea Driving. While Deep Sea Driving is still a lot of fun, I feel like I gravitate towards playing Hot Air Skyway a lot. So yeah, we're gonna put it there for now. And speaking of a stage that I talk about that I really like, Hyperspaceway. Because I'm biased, I'm putting this as my favorite stage. This is the stage I was talking about. I actually didn't even know this was next on the list. I know it's alphabetical, but I didn't think about it. The only downside to me to this stage is from the upgrade to Crash Nitro, from Nitro Kart to Nitro-Fueled, is they got rid of an entire section. And that was because it was anti-gravity. They probably couldn't think of an engaging way to put it back in. That's fine. This was the first stage I feel like I felt proper in love with when I played Nitro-Fueled for the first time. It is so much fun. It's like a slower deep sea driving to an extent. It's a rather simple stage with a really cool shortcut after the first portal, and there's a lot of places to get Blue Flame, so you can practice keeping Blue Flame and messing with your reserves. It's one of the stages I think is really fun to do that in. There's a lot of tiny little things you can optimize around, which is super cool. The figure 8 section is a good example of just taking these really sharp micro turns just to get the most, like, just to have the least amount of time in that section to make it fast. And I think it is so much fun doing that. I love this stage to death. I feel bad whenever I race somebody on it because I seem to beat everyone's ass. That's probably because, and I'm going to toot my own horn here, I was, I believe, top 20 on the PS4 leaderboards in this stage after they wiped out the, they reset all the times because of hackers and such. So, or not hackers, actually. It was people abusing exploits like on shortcuts that weren't supposed to exist. I love Hyperspaceway, though. I would play it. I've played it to death, and I still would play it and have a lot of fun with it. Alright, let's see. Inferno Island. So this is just Crash Cove for me. I'm going to put it under Crash Cove. It's basically just another version of Crash Cove, but just more boring. It has a similar shortcut where you go from a lower hill right at the beginning just to jump onto a higher hill that makes you go slightly, gives you a slight shortcut. That's like the only shortcut in the stage. It does feel a bit empty as it goes on. It is a short stage and does have that big, like, in the cavern at the way end, it has that giant ramp. Just like it, there's the one in Crash Cove, the ship. And I think it's like whatever because of that. It's definitely just Crash Cove, but it just feels a little slightly worse. I do like how it's at night now, at least, because in the original game it was in Nitro, Nitro Kart it was, and during the day it was basically felt even more like Crash Cove in that regard. But I feel like the different aesthetic change in that regard made it at least feel slightly more original, but I still think it's just a slightly worse Crash Cove. I definitely would play it over a lot of these other tracks. These other 6 tracks I have down here, I think I'd play it over. Jungle Boogie, my boy Crunk, his boss stage from Nitro Kart. This is a fun stage. There's not a lot of skill expression in this stage, no blue flame. Whenever I say skill expression, it usually means like blue flame, because you have to keep that blue flame pretty hard. But there's not a lot of boost panels here too. So keeping your Sacred Fire is pretty hard. It's very turny and aesthetically pleasing. I like how at the beginning there's the little platform that juts out. That's a lot of fun. It like juts out of the... It's like a thin pathway at the beginning. You know what I'm talking about? That it's like a brick thin pathway that you have to jump on. It juts out of the wall and you can barely stay on it. It's really difficult to stay on. And it lets you cut corners as best as you possibly can at the beginning, because I think there's some water there, if I'm not mistaken, under that platform. So ideally you want to take it. So that's cool. And then it has another shortcut midway through where you can skip onto a wooden platform that is just doing its own little thing. So it's a pretty cool stage. It's a pretty fun stage. I would probably play it over... Actually, personally, I'd probably play it over Blizzard Bluff. It is just a fun stage to me. I don't know, there's just something about it. Maybe it's my love for Crunk, and he didn't get a lot of attention, so I love that man. But I don't know, it's just a fun stage. It's like a simple stage, but it's fun. So that's what I mean by there are simple stages that are, like, they're fun. Because even stages like Gingerbread Joyride, it has blue flame, but it's not really that fun. Well, yeah, it's not really that fun. It's like, whatever. Koala Carnival. This stage bores me. I actually had to think about it. So I'm like, I don't know if I think this is an okay stage or if it's a boring stage. It's boring. It has blue flame, but it's literally an oval with almost no shortcuts. This was a DLC stage too. I don't know. This stage is just so boring. It's visually appeasing and appealing. I meant to say appealing. It also appeases my brain apparently. But no, this has got to be the second worst to me. I'm sorry. That stage, it's so boring. There's nothing going on for it. It's basically just an oval with nothing else happening. Like, there's a few segments they try to do to divert your attention, I guess, but they're so easy to just ignore. I do not like Koala Carnival. Not at all. Mega Mix Mania is next. I'm going to put this in... I'm going to try to reserve 5 for the best of the best. For now, I will put this in the top of very good, because I don't know if it deserves the best of the best just yet. This stage is a lot of fun. This was the, I want to say, second to last DLC. And it has 2 shortcuts. It's got the cool Mad Max aesthetic first. But beyond that, it has the 2 shortcuts. One at the beginning where you go through, I believe it's like, I don't know if it's an actual, I think it's the whatever they call the thing that lets you board planes. That's at the beginning, and there's a very hard shortcut which you need blue flame to take about halfway through the stage when you get to the metallic section of the stage, which has the 90-degree turns. And I like how this stage also mixes normal turning, like off-road racing, and then it has more like it has normal turning like a normal track, right, at the beginning. And then it kind of turns into this inside 90-degree, hard-to-manage stage. And then there's a big jump, which leads to an outer area, which has multiple paths to take. That feels kind of like off-road racing in a way. It's like 3 different styles of racing almost. And I really like the level design on it that much. It's a lot of fun to race in. Overall, an amazing stage. Might be the best of the DLC stage, actually. We'll have to see. Might be my favorite, at least, of the bunch. So, alright. Next. Meteor Gorge, or as I like to say, to bug my friend Mayo, Meteor Gorge. Alright, it's Meteor Gorge time. Aesthetically, it's a more interesting Blizzard Bluff. Unfortunately, it's a very boring stage. There's a cool shortcut if you're really good at this stage and the game, where you can cut really hard into the off-road section, which would usually slow you down, which is pretty cool. There's no blue flame, I don't think. I'm almost certain there's no blue flame. It has a cool little section where you can jump onto a piece of cliff jutting out, and that's pretty cool near the beginning, but it's also, I think, slower if I'm not mistaken. And it has some kind of pointless ice at the beginning too. Like, those sections are pointless. They feel like, it almost feels like they wanted to make another polar pass and it was just like whatever. So as much as I like to joke and meme on the stage, call it Meteor Gorge, I think I would probably race on it more than Inferno Island. It's like an okay stage. I actually think Crash Cove is probably still a more enjoyable stage to play. Actually, no, I'd probably play Meteor Gorge over it. I'm going to keep calling it Meteor Gorge. You can't stop me. Mystery Caves. Fun stage too. This video is going to be long. It's going to be great. So yeah, Mystery Caves. Good stage. Very good stage. Fun stage. It's not a very good stage. It's probably an okay stage. There's the turtles that you can jump off of, which are cycle-based. Either the left one goes up or the right one goes up, and the other one goes down. There's the scenery shortcut at the beginning, which is cool. And that's basically it in terms of the shortcut. It's just that. This stage looks like an upgrade, like they just upgraded the high-res to up-res, as I keep saying, I believe. Graphically speaking, the stage, which makes me... Actually, I think it works in this stage's favor, because I think the original game had a really nice-looking mystery caves, and I think this is just really nice-looking. So, but in terms of a stage, it's fun. I think it's just, like, okay. I would rather play something like a Crash Cove in an Inferno Island, but I wouldn't say it's in the not-so-good territory. Actually, I think I'm going to move Inferno Island to not-so-good, because I think it's just a stage I only like aesthetically. And I would put Mystery Caves over Crash Cove, so I think we'll put it like that for now. I think it's a bit of an underrated stage. It's not amazing, but I feel like a lot of people hate it more than they should, but obviously people feel the way they do, so if you hate it, you hate it. You think it's boring, you think it's boring. You love it, you love it. Engine Labs. This is a classic stage. Everybody loves Engine Labs. I think Engine Labs is okay. And by okay, I mean it's very good. It is a lot of fun. This is the stage that in the original CTR you would learn that, as it was called CTR, Ultra Sacred Fire, which is now called Blue Flame, existed. And they were really nice to make it so the final jump would give you Blue Flame, if I'm not mistaken. In the original game, that was not the case. You had to go off another ramp to get that, because there were super turbo pads that did that, which is how it works in this game too, but they gave you two super turbo pads to make it work. It's a 90-degree turning stage again, but these ones are less intrusive, honestly. And it has that staircase too, the 90-degree turning staircase that Assembly Lane has. And aesthetically, it's just a really cool, fun, like toxic waste looking stage. It's a fun stage overall, and it has the super turbo tunnel, which is visually really cool, and I think that's cool. But yeah, you know what? It's just a very good stage. I'd probably put it below Cortex Castle, just because of the fact there's no real shortcuts here, and it's not super skill expressive, I suppose, but it's fun to play, and that's what matters the most to me. I feel like if Drive Through Danger didn't look so gross, I'd probably prefer it, but Engine Labs is a good stage. I feel like it's a little overrated. I feel like people love it to death, but I'm just like, it's fine. It's good, but it's not amazing, to me at least. Nina's Nightmare. This stage is boring. I like how it changes as the race goes on, specifically in the outside section. Like, more obstacles and stuff, I believe, appear depending on the lap, which I think is really cool. But it's a pretty boring stage. There's this weird, I don't even know if it's a shortcut, where at the way end of the stage you can like jump over the wall right next to the flag, or the finish line. Flag, I guess, works in this context too, and you can jump over a wall, like a tiny wall to the right. It's kind of pointless, and I don't understand why it's a thing. And then there's, I believe, the big spider, which can stomp on the ground like pretty early on in the stage, which is like whatever. It's an okay stage. I think the fact that it transforms the more the stage goes on is cool. But I would probably put it just like above Inferno Island. It's nothing too amazing to me. So yeah, out of time. Okay, so this is a stage where I'm in agreement with most people, where I feel like it got a downgrade compared to the original stage. Of course, you no longer go on the iconic. You don't do the iconic thing of driving on the clock. Go inside like the clock, which is whatever. It looks aesthetically cool because it's like you're stuck in time, and I think the stage aesthetically blows the original out of the park. The problem is they got rid of obstacles for some reason, making the second half of the stage feel absolutely barren and boring. So while the first half is pretty strong, which has a shortcut where you jump over a fence, which in the original game I swear was nearly impossible because you needed a specific pixel to jump on in order to hit it, and it was inconsistent. This game it's easy and consistent, and there is Blue Flame, which is cool too. And then there's another shortcut you can actually take if you have said Blue Flame, which after you get out of the clock, you can do a huge left turn over a chasm and avoid a big turn. That's pretty cool. I would say this used to be one of the very top tier, very good stages. But because they changed it to be really boring in the second half, I'm just not interested in playing it often. I'd probably put it above Blizzard Bluff, but I just don't care enough to play the stage that much, so it's like still kind of whatever. Oxide Station is next, and this is a stage where they got rid of a massive shortcut. Well, I think you can still technically do a massive shortcut of skipping the zero gravity section. Zero gravity section is really cool though. The sound gets all messed up as if you're actually going into zero gravity and into space. It's super cool. You hear the vacuum sucks up all the sound. Blue Fire, keeping Blue Fire on the stage is really hard and one of the most satisfying things in the world. I think the stage is a blast to play. I thought it was pretty good in the original game. I actually feel like it sucks that in the original game you can skip. It's like cool, but also sucks that you skip this cool like zero gravity, low gravity section. But this version, it's so much fun. The Blue Flame pushes this stage to make it even better than the original. As a matter of fact, I think this is better than... I think it's probably better than Cortex Castle. Cortex Castle can be very annoying to navigate around. Oxide Station is a lot of fun, in my opinion, to navigate around. So I'd probably put it around there. Papu's Pyramid. Papu's Pyramid. So I actually don't like this stage. I used to like this stage quite a bit. It has a lot of cool stuff in the background, and aesthetically it's beautiful. Definitely an upgrade from the original stage in CTR, Crash Team Racing. But I don't know. Going up the pyramid feels like a chore. It has the two cool shortcuts. One of them being that like pillar section, and then the other one being you can jump around the U-turn, and you completely avoid it if you know how to do that. Which, that is cool, and it's intended, which is also really cool. There's no blue flame though, and that pillar shortcut, while it's cool to take, you also have to take like an obnoxiously sharp turn to get another shortcut, which I barely feel like matters. So I don't know. I don't really like playing this stage. I would probably put it at the above Dingo Canyon. I really don't like playing. Honestly, I'm going to move Android Alley down, and I'm going to swap those two. I think Android Alley. I just really don't enjoy playing Android Alley. I'm sorry, Android Alley. You're just a boring stage. Speaking of boring, and by that I mean this stage isn't boring at all. Polar Pass. What a great stage. This is another stage I feel like got a complete improvement just by putting in Blue Flame, just adding that extra little skill. There was already some cool shortcuts and just tricks you can do in the original game, and well, they took out a few. They added in, I believe, one more, and they give you Blue Flame, which is really cool. You can jump over the wall, which is the obvious shortcut, and then you can avoid the entire massive U-turn section. If you are able to turn yourself to go over the water near the beginning of the stage. And there's the figure 8 section, which is much bigger than the one in Hyper Spaceway. I always went right or left to right. I almost never go right to left, and I think that's probably the fastest way to do that stage too. But overall, it's a really fun stage. This is another one I feel got upscaled visually from CTR, but I think it works a lot in favor of Polar Pass, because Polar Pass is like looks a lot like Snow Go. Kind of lost my train of thought there for a second. It looks a lot like Snow Go. Those stages look amazing, I think, still to this day in Crash Bandicoot 2, the snow stages in general. So I think it's a lot of fun. Great stage. As a matter of fact, this is definitely going in the very good. I'd probably put it right below Oxide. Prehistoric Playground. Okay, I might have found the stage I like more than Mega Mix, possibly. Maybe, actually. You know what? I think I'm comfortable with putting this right before Mega Mix Mania. This is a fun stage. It has a huge open area. It has a spiral, which is pretty hard and fun to take. It has 2 shortcuts, one on a bone and one where you have to go like off the cliff at the beginning, and I think you either need, I'm pretty sure you need Blue Flame to hit it, or you can barely hit it without Blue Flame, but you basically need Blue Flame to hit it. It has a boost panel on it, which is really nice. And then there's obviously going out to the waterfall at the end, across the finish line, you have Blue Flame throughout the entirety of the lap, potentially. It does feel a little empty at certain points. It has the water geyser gimmick for one section, and that's like whatever. But I would say, yeah, it is a fun stage, though. It is so fun to just play through. It can feel a little empty, especially because there's that big section where you're likely going to take the same path that you're used to taking every single time. And I think that just makes it feel a little emptier than it actually is. Sometimes it also just feels empty, too, if I'm, say, playing with a lot of racers, and unfortunately I'm just getting ahead of people. And the last spiral is really hard to take. As a matter of fact, you can just screw up taking it, and you'll be fine, because it's right before hitting a Blue Flame Super Turbo Pad. Retro Stadium is next. I'm putting this above Dragon Mines just because I don't like Dragon Mines. As a matter of fact, I'm giving Dragon Mines its own little thing. I wonder what this looks like on mine. Oh, you guys can actually see it. Well, Dragon Mines, you're getting the poo-poo color. I don't know what Bad and Boring had. I might have accidentally screwed with colors. Okay, there we go. Let's do add row below. There we go. That's what I was looking for. This is what we call Dragon Mines. Go down there, Dragon Mines. I don't like you. Dragon Mines gets so bad tier. Retro Stadium, I think, is the worst stage otherwise, though. As a matter of fact, if it doesn't even need to exist, I feel like rating it isn't fair. So it's Turbo Track that looks worse. It doesn't even look like they scaled it to look like the PS1 version very well, in my opinion. So I'll talk more about Turbo Track when I get there, but it's shouldn't exist as a stage, so it's stupid in that regard. It's supposed to be a PS exclusive stage, but it is so who cares that, yeah, I'm just going to move on. Roost Tubes. I like Roost Tubes. It's a simple stage. Fun, simple stage. But it only has the one shortcut at the end, but aesthetically it's really pleasing. But it's a fairly boring stage. I would put it in... I feel like honestly, I'm going to put it not so good. I'm going to put it slightly above Inferno Island. I think Inferno Island is not as fun to play as Roost Tubes. I think Nina's Nightmare has more interesting things happening. Roost Tubes, there's just not a lot going on. So it just bores me. It's aesthetically pleasing. You can go off-road at the end and have a bit of a shortcut. That's okay. There's like a little S-bend right before that means whatever. I don't know. It's just a boring stage. It could even go lower, possibly. I've just never really been that big of a fan of it. I know a lot of people love it, but I'm not the biggest fan of Roost Tubes. I think it's a very boring stage. It's a figure 8 stage, too, which also doesn't really help it. For the most part, it's figure 8 stage, at least. Sewer Speedway. This stage, I feel like, got a downgrade in terms of how it plays in this game. But it's still an okay stage. I actually think Sewer Speedway, after I've played it for a lot now, both the original and the new one, I think it's actually a bit of an overrated stage. I do like how it has a shortcut, which used to be nearly impossible to hit when the game first came out. There was a trick you essentially had to do. It was almost pixel perfect. That I made a video on that was kind of cool, which I probably should have deleted like the entire second half because I learned that something went terribly wrong in terms of my hypothesis, but whatever. But I do like how it has that shortcut, and actually jumping off the shortcut is faster than taking the full thing, because the full thing kind of makes you lose all the time that you save for this cool little side section. But that makes the side section pointless, which kind of makes me look down on the stage a bit more. The half-pipe stuff is like whatever. It can be fun to screw with the physics on the half-pipe, but I think that's just the half-pipe physics being a little wonky as opposed to making the stage more fun. I don't know. Sewer Speedway. I think Sewer Speedway is okay. I would put it above Assembly Lane, but I still think I'd rather play something like Blizzard Bluff over it. Slide Coliseum. This is going in bad and boring. It's just a stage that you turn. I really don't care. This is a stage... I'd rather play Coco Park, honestly. Koala Carnival, I don't really want to touch Koala Carnival because it feels like there's not a lot of interaction happening. Slide Coliseum, I feel like I actually have to turn around stuff, but it's just a stage that you turn, and it's so boring. I like that it's at night, and it's got all the lights, and it's cool in that regard. It's a stadium track, but stadium tracks are kind of just boring, like visually to me, and there's just not a lot you can do. There's no turbo pads at all, so you can't even get like a little bit of a boost. It's like whatever, who cares? It's fine. It's a good stage. It's okay. It's boring. It's what it is. It's boring. Spyro Circuit, though, unfortunately, I would put you below Slide Coliseum. I don't like playing Spyro Circuit at all. The second worst, next to Koala Carnival. It'd be worse than Koala Carnival if Koala Carnival had more going on for it. It's a nice looking stage. I love how they put multiple levels in from the Spyro game, but the stage itself is so boring. It is so boring. I have nothing to say on it besides it is just boring. I think there's Blue Flame. I don't even know. I played the stage so little because I hated playing it. Like, you can jump over a wall? That exists? I guess? For a little shortcut? I don't know. I don't like... It's so boring. I genuinely can't think of anything to say about it. It's just aesthetically, it looks nice. It's like Koala Carnival. It's just boring. It has less going on for it, technically, than Koala Carnival. But Koala Carnival, the stuff that it has going on for it, there's no reason to do it, which makes it just stupid, in my opinion. So yeah, it's a downer stage, which sucks because I do love me some Spyro. Thunderstruck. This stage, while the anti-gravity in the original game was cool, I hated the colors on it in Nitro Kart, and it felt awkward and finicky and clunky to play. And this is one of the first, and now that it's been upgraded though, it's awesome. I think this stage is cool. It's visually fun, cool looking. It's super cool to learn how to do this track perfectly. It has a 90-degree turn section, because of course it does. I think that's actually something that never existed in the original. I think that was where one of the anti-grav sections were, because there was a lot of anti-gravity in this stage. They almost had to completely rebuild this stage. Like the beginning and the end, I feel like, are almost the only stages that are like from the original. I think this stage is a ton of fun. There's the blue flame, which is cool. It has the gimmick, or rather the obstacle that you can force on your enemy, which makes, there's two hammer statues that I think if you hit a switch, it changes which side will start doing the hammering. Annoying when it screws you over, but I think it's okay, I guess. It's better than most of the other, I feel, little hazards and stages, so yeah, but I think it's such a fun stage. It was one of the first stages that was broken, like, immediately. It's such a fun stage to play. Honestly, I'd put it next to Mega Mix Mania for now. I think Mega Mix Mania has a lot of cool things going on for it. And given the stages that I see, actually no, I'm gonna hold off on that. I'll make sure I'll keep whatever I think deserves to be the 5th of the best of the best. Those are where the top 5 go. Tiger Temple, boring stage. I don't know. It's a boring stage. I like the idea of the shortcut you needing an actual item to open when you're not doing time trial, because when you're doing time trial, it's just open. In this game, it's just open by default, which is cool. And I like the idea of having to use a power-up in order to even get in. Which means also, too, people in the back, sometimes, they can potentially get ahead because you're not lucky because you're first place and you're not getting something that you can toss at that door to open. I think that was like the only cool thing about it, though. It's aesthetically a cool stage. I like nighttime, rainy, muddy tracks, but the fire, like the narrow fire tunnel in the middle of the stage on both, like, the middle, you know, that you take through twice, that's literally in dead center of the stage, that's why I said the middle. That can be annoying to traverse, and it is kind of boring. Like, beyond that, just a big turn. I'd put it lower than Barren Ruins. It's not really a fun stage, but it's not as annoying to play as like Papu's Pyramid to me, so Papu's Pyramid might even drop down. Tiny Arena. Now this is a stadium stage with high walls, but this stage is just fun. I don't know what it is about this stage, but it is just fun. There are boost panels, but no blue flame, but you get to just turn and do lots of turns. It's a long course. The music is actually something I generally am like, oh yeah, I know the song of Tiny Arena. Most other stages I barely even know the songs of. Tiny Arena, though, I know that's the music to that stage. It's a good stage. It's a great stage. I like it. It's a lot of fun. This is probably the best example of a stage where there's no blue flame, literally no shortcuts, but just driving in it is so much fun. It's just so much fun to do that. I would definitely put it over Cortex Castle, but I feel like these other stages in the very good category, they just have a lot more things that are mostly the blue flame, because if you've noticed a trend, all these have blue flame up here. As a matter of fact, everything except for Tiny Arena in Very Good Onwards have blue flame. So yeah, definitely love that stage. Very good one. Definitely the best of the bunch in terms of, it's the best of the bunch in terms of just a raw racing stage, I feel like, without anything to boost your speed, and you have to be super good to keep and stuff like that. Very fun stage. Tiny Temple. This is another stage where you just go fast as hell, if I remember correctly. And it's a fun stage. In the original game, I would say this stage is stupid and actually just a worse Tiger Temple, I feel like. But because the anti-gravity section, they just completely changed it to just be a split path section. One of them's a shortcut and it's hard to take, so you have to jump off to get. You could swerve to the right, which is the normal path. It's just a fun stage to play on, and it's fun to go super fast. So I do really enjoy the stage in that regard. I feel like just because you go so fast and it's fun to keep said speed, it is a very fun stage to play. But I feel like, unlike Drive-Thru Danger, there's not really a lot going on. It's just fun to play through, though. So I'll put it just in the highest of the okay tier. And Turbo Track. Now we get to talk about Turbo Track. I hate this stage. I really hate this stage. It's all blue flame pads, which in theory will be pretty fun. But then they decided, some jerk decided to put a huge, like 3 tight turns consecutively that you have to take in the middle, slowly, so tight that in order to keep your blue flame, you have to do a stupid bunny hop strat. And that's how you even get the dev time. And this stage was the hardest for me because sometimes I couldn't hit that for some reason. I don't know why. Sometimes I just couldn't hit it. Turbo Track kind of sucks. I do not like Turbo Track. I'm gonna put it above Slide Coliseum just because of the fact that if you are able to perfect it, it can be pretty fun. It is super hard to perfect though. It almost feels like you need to be frame perfect. It is that hard to perfect. So yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good at being bad. And now it's time for the last course, and the first DLC course we got, Twilight Tour. Twilight Tour is a pretty good stage. I think it's fun. It's a little boring to an extent in terms of like it feels kind of empty in a lot of regards, but I like how you start at a nighttime section. You go inside the pyramid, which is like probably the most boring section of the level. And then you get to go into this bazaar, which is at day. It's cool, and then it eventually winds your way back to the outer section that is at night, or that is nighttime. I think that's cool. Keeping a blue flame here is tough because it's a 1 blue flame ramp track. And I think it's a pretty damn fun track overall. I feel like it has a lot more going on than, say, something like Tiny Temple. But I don't feel like it's better than something like a Drive-Thru Danger, which I think is a lot of fun to just traverse once you start getting the hang of things. So I think it's going to snugly go right there in top of OK tier. I just saw the name of the stage and just said it. I can't read. But overall, I think this is fairly accurate. So I'm going to do a few things to finish off this list, though. We're going to add a row above the best of the best, and we're just going to call this the best, all caps, with a nice blue hue. Do I want to actually have a more blue hue? Yeah. Hyperspace Spaceways, got one there. Now I'm going to slowly go down these and see, would I play these stages over the other? And we're going to determine that. And then when we determine that, I'm going to move 2 more stages into the best of the best. And then we'll keep, so it'll be like a top 6, because Hyperspaceway is the best. But what do I think would go in the top 5 aside from that? Hyperspaceway is almost like a bias, so that's kind of why I'm putting it there. Yeah, let's take a look at this. So, Electron Avenue. Would I play that over Hyperspaceway? No. Would I play it over Hot Air Skyway? Absolutely. So, yeah. Hot Air Skyway. I would play it over Deep Sea Driving, I'd say. I have too much fun playing that. And let's see. Deep Sea Driving. Would I play that over Megamix? Yes. I would. Megamix. Would I play it over Thunderstruck? Honestly, no. So you're going to go up in there, best of the best. I'll be honest. Would I play it over Prehistoric Playground, though? Yeah, I think I would. I think it's safe to say Mega Mix gets to be up there in the best of the best tier. So, Prehistoric Playground. Would I play Clockwork Wumpa over it? I think I would. I think I would play Clockwork Wumpa over it. Would I play Oxide Station over Prehistoric Playground? Honestly, yes, I would. This poor Prehistoric Playground's getting a little tossed back a bit. Poor buddy. But would I play Polar Pass over Prehistoric Playground? I think that's where either work for me. So I think I'm fine with keeping Prehistoric Playground there. Would I play Polar Pass over Oxide Station? No, I wouldn't. Oxide Station is a lot of fun. But would I play it over Tiny Arena? Yeah. So you could stay. Tiny Arena, though. Would I play it over Cortex Castle? Yes. Yes, I would. Engine Labs, or would I play Cortex Castle over Engine Labs? Yeah, I think I would. It is really fun to cut corners on Cortex Castle, so I think it's fair. Would I rather play Engine Labs over Drive-Thru Danger? Honestly, as much as I dislike the aesthetics, but the aesthetics suck. Taking that out of the equation, though, I would play Drive-Thru Danger over it, so I'm going to put Drive-Thru Danger above it. I'm sorry, Engine Labs. I feel bad for putting it over just because I really hate how Drive-Thru Danger looks. It looks almost too much like a Nitro Kart stage with some of the grosser looking ones, to me at least. So Engine Labs, though, I'd play Drive-Thru Danger over it. Would I play Twilight Tour over Engine Labs, though? No. Would I play Tiny Temple over Twilight Tour? Yeah, I think I would. I just like the sheer speed you get at Tiny Temple. It's too much fun. Would I play Jungle Boogie over Twilight Tour, though? No, I would not. Would I play Out of Time over Jungle Boogie? Would I, actually? No, I wouldn't. I actually really like Jungle Boogie quite a bit. Blizzard Bluff. Would I play that over Out of Time, though? No. Would I play Super Speedway over Blizzard Bluff? No. Would I play Assembly Lane over Super Speedway, though? No. Would I play Meteor Gorge over Assembly Lane? No. Would I play... Meteor Gorge. Would I play Mystery Caves over Meteor Gorge? Probably not. Would I play Crash Cove over Mystery Caves? Nope. Would I play Nina's Nightmare over Roost Tubes? Would I? Yes. Yes, I would. Would I play Inferno Island over Roost Tubes? I almost want to say yes, but no. That one's kind of tough. I guess those are interchangeable for me. Would I play Gingerbread Joyride over, I feel like I've screwed up that name. Gingerbread. Oh my god, am I screwing up the name? I don't even know. Gingerbread Joyride. No, I would not play that over Inferno Island. Would I play Barren Ruins over Gingerbread? Yeah, I would. Would I play Tiger Temple, though, over Gingerbread? I don't think so. Tiger Temple bores me. Would I play Papu's Pyramid over it, though? No. Definitely not. Android Alley, would I play that over Papu's Pyramid? Honestly, yeah, I would. As much as you're going back up, Android Alley. You deserved it. And Papu's Pyramid. Would I play Dingo Canyon over that? No. Actually, Papu's Pyramid annoys me a lot. I don't think I played over Dingo Canyon, though. Dingo Canyon's so boring. Coco Park. I feel like I have nostalgia for it, so I'll put it over Dingo Canyon, but I still think it's a boring stage. It's not changing. Would I play Turbo Track over Dingo Canyon? No. I do not like playing Turbo Track. Would I play Slide Coliseum over Turbo Track? No. It's a boring stage. Would I play Spyro Circuit over Slide Coliseum? Nope. I don't think I would. Would I play Koala Carnival over Spyro Circuit? Yeah. Yeah, I would, I think. I actually think I would. Actually, no, I take it back. They're interchangeable. And I'm not going to do Spyro dirty, so Koala Carnival gets to stay where it's at. In Retro Stadium, I'm not even really counting. It would go with Turbo Track, but I just hate that it exists. So I'm just going to keep it at the bottom of the boring tier, but I'm not going to put it in Dragon Mines tier, because I would not play any stage over Dragon Mines. I would genuinely not play any stage over it. So yeah, I think this is fairly accurate. Keep in mind, I think bad and boring are probably the only stages I would feel no incentive to ever go back to. And Dragon Mines, obviously. Not so good upwards, though, I would definitely play to some degree. I feel like not so good is essentially equivalent to it's mostly okay. I think okay is just like, yeah, these are average. Very good is like, yeah, these are a lot of fun to play. Best of the best are like super fun to play. And then Hyperspaceway is Hyperspaceway. So there you go. And with that, this 1 hour 20-minute long video, because I talk a lot, is done. And I'm just gonna expand my Jigglypuff that I beautifully drew. I'm gonna put him right here. So thank you all for watching. And in the next video, I'll be doing who knows what. If you want to do this again, go look in the description. In the description, there will be a link to Nintendo Gen 64's original video, and there will be a link to go create your own tier list. So yeah, good luck and have fun with that. Thank you all for watching if you stuck through and just listened to me blabber on about Crash Bandicoot Nitro-Fueled. And again, if you want to see me play through that entire game, including stream VODs, there's the main campaign plus stream VODs of just online shenanigans for way too long. Go check out my co-op channel. I'll place that in the description too. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where I'm probably suffering over Bubsy or something. Bye bye.